Yo, what is up, everyone? Welcome back to this brand new episode of Hockeytown Rundown. You're here with me, one of your beautiful hosts, Zach. I am Carlo Les once again. During this midweek episode of Deal or No Deal, you fans at home decided and voted that we will be doing another Deal or No Deal midweek episode. Thanks to all those that did take the time to vote. This is something that we will continue moving forward along this offseason, potentially going into the season as well. As long as you guys keep on showing the love and appreciation that you do for the Detroit Red Wings. Yes, we truly do appreciate it and love the fact that you guys are engaging with us on what we should do to give you guys more content while we're in this offseason. And with that being said, why don't you go ahead and take a moment to hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up, and then hit that notification bell. If you are watching or listening to this on YouTube, if you are watching or listening on Spotify, yes, you can do both. Why don't you go ahead and rate us 5 stars, hit that follow button. Over on Apple Podcasts, why don't you go ahead and do the same thing. You can also follow us on all your favorite social media platforms, the TikToks, the X, the Instagrams, the Facebooks, the threads, all of them. We are trying to be as engageful as we can and providing more content, reels, short videos, as much as we can to you guys to make it a better off season for everyone. In this episode, there was a lot of hoon hollering going on within Buffalo Twitter. Buffalo made it apparent that Dylan Larkin could use a change this season. Larkin and his GM, Steve Yzerman, have been at odds, and the Wings captain needs a change of scenery. He's in year 3 of an 8-year deal that pays him $8.7 million AAV. In 82 games last season, Larkin potted 30 goals, 40 assists for 70 points. That comes straight from a Twitter post over at the Buffalo Sabres fan base. So we decided to allow the Red Wings fan base to suggest their own mock trades on what it would take for Detroit to move Dylan Larkin, their captain, Michigan native, over to the Buffalo Sabres, and what the Detroit Red Wings could get in return for their number 1 center captain in Dylan Larkin. So let's just go ahead and jump into everything and what you guys at home proposed as a mock trade for Buffalo to acquire a Dylan Larkin. So let's just go ahead and get rolling, boys and girls. Buckle up. It's going to be a bumpy one here. In this trade is submitted by Chuck Murray over on Twitter. These are all going to be Twitter submissions, so thank you to everyone who did post these. But Chuck Murray suggests that in order for Buffalo to receive Dylan Larkin, it would at least have to include Tage Thompson and Owen Power. Now, I'm just going to get it out there and just say it that Red Wings fans will always overvalue Dylan Larkin. And there's a few reasons why. He's their number 1 center. He's a Michigan native, and he absolutely wants to be there. He is the leader and the glue guy of this team. If he is out at any point, the Red Wings are completely kaput. There goes your number 1 center. You really don't have too many options other than that. With the emergence of Marco Kasper, who knows? Maybe there is a case to be made there. But in a situation like this, garnering an Owen Power, who makes $8.35 million for another 6 years, who is a left-handed defenseman, and a former first overall pick. You also include Tage Thompson, who can play center for you, coming in at $0.142 million. What a cap hit, Jesus, for another 5 years. So that's $15 million, almost $15.5 million the Red Wings would have to take on, but then you're moving on from 8.7, so really you're just taking on $7 million around there, give or take, if the math is mathing in my head. Other than that, I think that this would be way too much for the Buffalo Sabres to give up. But in the same token, this is what Detroit would be wanting to get in return, something probably close to it, because that's how much they value their captain and their number 1 center in Dylan Larkin. So, Chuck, I really don't think you're too far off. I think the Buffalo Sabres would actually say no in this. However, you are getting a number 1 center in Dylan Larkin, but Tage Thompson, I firmly believe that he can be a number 1 center. But I think he would probably be a really, really good 2C on a cup contending team. That is not the Buffalo Sabres. Is this an immediate fix for the Detroit Red Wings? You can make the case that it could be, because you're inserting an Owen Power with a Simon Edmondson and then Tage Thompson with Marco Kasper and Nate Danielson in the future. That is a solid top 3 centerman option for the Detroit Red Wings there. But in this deal, I'm going to say no deal. But this is great, Chuck. Thank you for submitting this one, bud. And in this trade, it is submitted by Future Considerations. And in this one, he has the Detroit Red Wings receiving Tage Thompson. Tage Thompson mentioned once again. And then a 2026 first-round pick that would be unprotected. So the Red Wings could have a potential chance at getting a top 10 selection if the Buffalo Sabres, for whatever reason, did not do well with Dylan Larkin being involved in this trade, moving on over to them. So I think this one's a little bit closer. I think Buffalo may actually entertain this one. For me, I'm actually going to say that this is a deal. I think the way that Buffalo wants to be, they want to be more sound. They want to have a better overall offense, someone with players that are going to have more maturity in their game, players that are also more familiar with the NHL and that can lead a group, right? While Dylan Larkin's only been to the playoffs once, Dylan Larkin also has a seed where Tage Thompson does not. So Dylan Larkin already comes with that personality of a leader, and that can help drive this Buffalo Sabres team hopefully into the playoffs, much like how we're trying to attempt them to do with the Detroit Red Wings. But I think this one is actually pretty close. So I'm actually going to say it's a deal. So thank you for submitting this one once again. Future considerations. Now in this trade, we're moving over to Ratty Rat. Let's go Red Wings. And in this trade, he is submitting that the Red Wings receive yet again Tage Thompson, left-handed defenseman and former first overall pick Rasmus Dahlin, and he said a first-round pick, so I'm just going to include a 2027 first-round pick that is unprotected. This one is a no deal. This is way too much for the Buffalo Sabres. Thank you for submitting that trade, Ratty Rat. This is a lot of fun. Now we're going to move on over to the trade submitted by Ash, and Ash suggests everyone on Buffalo's roster. I only included all the really big name players that they have currently, but you get the idea. This definitely is not a deal, but the joke is still pretty funny, and thank you, Ash, for submitting this one. I just had to toss this one in there. Buffalo obviously would say no to something like this. Or would they? Now we're going to move over to the trade that was submitted by our good buddy, Jake Rivard. Jake, I'm sorry to say this, but this is a little too much for the Buffalo Sabres to give up for someone like Dylan Larkin. But once again, it's going back to how much value that the Detroit Red Wings place on their captain in 1C, Dylan Larkin. So with this, yeah, I still think it's a no. I think this is way too much for Buffalo to stomach, even only giving up a Rasmus Dahlin. While, yes, you are saving, what is that? That's $2.3 million for the next 7 years just by taking on Larkin and moving on Rasmus Dahlin. And you're moving on. I picked the 27, 28, 29 first instead of the 26. I firmly believe that majority of the teams in the NHL, if not all, would prefer to keep their 26 first-round picks, and rightfully so. It's a very deep draft that they would propose to move on from the later drafts. And in this, maybe they consider it. I still think that this is a lot, but moving on from Rasmus Dahlin and 3 firsts for Dylan Larkin, it's a little much, so I do think that this is a no deal. Now let's move over to the trade that was submitted by Tomothy. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but thank you for submitting this trade. And in this trade, this one, I actually really like this one. It would be Dylan Larkin going over to Buffalo, and Buffalo sending over Bowen Byram, the left-handed defenseman, newly signed left-handed defenseman, for 2 years, $6.25 million, a 2027 first-round pick, and a 2028 first-round pick. I actually think that this is a really good deal. I'm going to say yes. This is probably exactly what we would be looking at. Buffalo would probably add in another prospect. Red Wings would probably add in a prospect or maybe a late round pick or something right around there. But this is it. I think that this would actually get it done. Buffalo gets a number 1 center. Detroit gets another top-handed left-handed defenseman. Just imagine this real quick. Simon Edmondson, Moritz Seider, Bowen Byram, Axel Sandin and Palika. That's your top 4 deep men in the future. That would be absolutely insane. You get a 2027 first-round pick. You may have to make that the 2026 first-round pick for it to actually go through. But this is it. This is very close, like I said. So, yeah, this was a great trade that was submitted by Tomathy. Once again, I apologize for saying your name wrong if I am. Now we're going to be moving over to the trade that was submitted by Hockey Snob Elite. And once again, I'm actually going to say yes to this deal. You're getting Rasmus Dahlin at 11/7. And you're getting a 2027 first-round pick out of it for Dylan Larkin. Rasmus Dahlin, I think, is pretty much on par with Dylan Larkin. Granted, Rasmus Dahlin is on the defensive side. I mean, could you imagine a pairing of Rasmus Dahlin and Moritz Seider, and then on your second pair, it's going to be Simon Edmondson and then Axel Sandin for years to come? I mean, that would be absolutely incredible defense and a good masterclass by Steve Yzerman to flip the script where if the emergence of Marco Kasper comes around where you could see him as being your future 1C or even Nate Danielson, then Dylan Larkin can be expendable, right? So in this situation, I would actually call it a deal. Maybe that 27 has to be 26 first, but I like it so far. And for Buffalo, looking at their defense, they're pretty stacked. Over on the left-handed side, too, with Owen Power and then Bowen Byram in this situation. So it works for both parties, honestly. I'm calling this a good deal. And this trade was submitted by Michigan Mike, the virus established in 1981, saying that the Buffalo Sabres would give up Owen Power, a 2027 first-round pick, and a 2028 first-round pick as well. And to be fair, I'll just read the whole entire tweet. Michigan Mike starts out by saying Owen Power, UPL, or Levi, and 2 first-round picks unprotected for Larkin. So we get a top 4 young stud defenseman, fill out the top 4 role. We can move 1 as package for 6 forward or a 2C player. I really didn't understand what you were saying there, Mike. And get second lotto tickets, possibly. Okay, so it's a lot of what-ifs and hypothetical scenarios in this, right? But I'm actually going to say that this is a no deal. I think that this would be a little bit too much for Buffalo to give up. Owen Power, I think that he comes at a little bit more favorable cap hit for the Buffalo Sabres versus what a Rasmus Dahlin actually does, even though Rasmus Dahlin is way better than an Owen Power. And in this case, with the 2 first rounds added to it, I still think that this is a no deal. And then looking at it from the perspective of the 2 goalies that you mentioned, Ukko-Pekka Laine and then Devin Levi, Red Wings have no reason to go out and get another goalie. They just went out and traded for John Gibson. You get him for 2 seasons, and then you have Kosa and you have Trey Augustine and a whole bunch of other goalies. The Red Wings have all the goalies in the world. We don't need any more Michigan Mike, but I do appreciate you, as always, submitting this trade and everything else that you contribute to us online. Thank you, my good friend. Now let's move over to the trade that was submitted by Tony Corneal. Sorry if I pronounced your last name wrong, Tony, but he suggests that the Red Wings and the Buffalo Sabres 1-for-1 trade Tage Thompson for Dylan Larkin. This one, I actually had to take a moment, pause this recording, and actually sit here and think about it. It's 1-for-1 in both play center, right? Tage Thompson is obviously a little bit more flexible in terms of what he can play. He can play on the wings, so can Dylan Larkin. But Tage Thompson shoots right. Dylan Larkin shoots left. Tage Thompson, 6'6", 220 pounds. And Tage Thompson, he put up a 94-point season back in 22-23 where he put up 47 goals and 47 assists. For Dylan Larkin, his best career season was in 23-24. In 68 games, he put up 69 points for 33 goals and 36 assists. And then other than that, in a couple other seasons, he's kind of tiptoed around the 1 point per game waters, so to say. And so this, I'm actually going to say deal. Only because you're getting younger with a Tage Thompson. His contract is a lot cheaper. The only downside to it is, and I should keep on saying too, Tage Thompson's huge. He's basically a power forward, something that you don't have in your organization now, or even looking at it from the prospect perspective. You don't have this type of player in your system whatsoever. And so I actually, my hot take, I'm calling this a deal. I think that Steve Yzerman and the Detroit Red Wings, and I think the Buffalo Sabres and their general manager would pull the trigger on a trade like this. Other pieces may get involved. You might have to include some picks. You might have to include some minimal roster players, some prospects here and there. But I think that this is a deal. And for me, I actually would call it a deal. I love Dylan Larkin. He's the heart and soul of this team. But you're getting younger in Tage Thompson. You're getting a lot bigger. Contract's a little bit cheaper. And you can work a little bit more with him, especially if Marco Kasper and Nate Danielson pop off and can showcase to you that they can be a 1 and 2C punch combo. Let me know what you think about that one down in the comments. And we're going to move over to this trade that was submitted by Jimmy V, who suggests that Buffalo Sabres would send over Dahlin straight up just for Dylan Larkin. I know that I've said the other one would work, so I'm actually going to say I think this one would work as well. I think that this one would be a deal. I think the Red Wings would be ecstatic to add someone like Rasmus Dahlin, and you can have Simon Edmondson as your second pair left-handed defenseman moving forward for the future. The Buffalo Sabres get the save on some cap, and then the Buffalo Sabres obviously get Dylan Larkin. So I think this one's a deal. Let me know also what you think about this one down in the comments for all you Detroit Red Wing Dylan Larkin lovers. Call me hater all you want. That's no hate towards Dylan Larkin, but I do think that this deal would get done. And that's all I got for you guys here today on this episode of Deal or No Deal. Thank you to everyone for submitting your own mock trades in this Buffalo Sabres edition of Deal or No Deal. If you like this episode, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you are new or if you are returning and you haven't done that, just go ahead and hit that button. We truly do appreciate it. If you're watching or listening to this on Spotify, go ahead and rate us the 5 stars. Hit that follow button over on Apple Podcasts. Do the same thing. We truly do appreciate it. Make sure that you're following us on all of our social media platforms, the TikToks, the Twitters, the X's, same platform, Facebook, Instagram, you name it, Threads. We are on all of those. We love doing the engagement and the content creation. We love every moment and every second of it. We truly do this for you guys and just want to have fun in this offseason, providing more content and more engageful conversations with you guys, with like-minded Detroit Red Wings fans, lovers alike. And so with that being said, I appreciate you guys for stopping by on this brand new episode once again. And until next time, I'll see y'all on the next midweek episode. See ya. I love you. Bye.